Hi Stampers, welcome to Stampers Club. Today we are going to create this really pretty elegant Christmas card made with the Christmas Gleaming stamp set. This is the stamp set. It has some nice ornaments, and the ornaments can be punched with some matching punches. This is available as a bundle right now in the holiday catalog. And I've also paired that up with the stitched label dies. And I'll show you how I use those. So what we're going to need today is a half a sheet of Night of Navy, a piece of Very Vanilla that is cut to 5 3 3/4, a piece of Night of Navy that is cut to 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. You're going to use the die cut piece for the stitched labels. You're going to use some Very Vanilla, and I used this one. Okay, just so that you can see which size I used. That's the one that I used there. So about the fourth biggest one. Okay, you'll need some scrap of Night of Navy, Mossy Meadow, Very Vanilla, and a little piece of the copper foil. So let's get started, and I'll show you what I did here. Okay, so you know me, I always tend to start with that card base here, which I did not score. I tend to just fold it in half, match the bottom, and use my bone folder and go across it there. And then on top of that, we're going to add our piece of Very Vanilla. And then the piece of Night of Navy, we need to emboss with the hammered embossing folder. So mine, as you can see, is a little bit warped. And what happened is it got used in the big shot without the top plate. Somebody put the plate under it. So it kind of stretches it a little bit. Still works though. So we're not going to worry about that. Our newer folders with Stampin' Up! Are a little bit different thickness than the Sizzix version that we used to carry. So we currently have available a different plate as to be used as your top plate with these deep embossing folders. So that way you can still use your big shot that you have and have the right thickness for this. So let me get that embossed. And it's just going to go in there. Okay. Oh, let me get that over there. Okay. So, and as you can see, this has two different sides. Feel free to use either one. I think they both look pretty good. But I'm going to use the one where the dimples are down in. I'm not going to, yeah, I'll use that side. I used that one before, so I'll use it again. And that, as you can see, I have a very small border on this one. I didn't do the whole full 1/4 inch. I did more of an 1/8 inch border on that. That's why those two pieces are a little closer in size. And I am missing a stamp on a block. Okay, so we'll get ready started with those elements in the middle. Get those made. So you're going to use your nested label piece and Night of Navy. And I use this cute little scroll just to give it a little bit more detail. It's not something you notice a lot, but it is there. Gives it a little bit more dimension. And I just did one little stripe down the side of it. And then on that scrap paper in navy, I stamped one of the larger ornament, navy on navy. Okay. And on the green one, the Mossy Meadow, I did moss with a smaller ornament, Mossy Meadow ink on Mossy Meadow paper. So there's not a lot of contrast there, just enough to give you that little bit of a pattern. And then with the die, or the punch, came right back in, lined that up. I love these ornament shapes on this one. And punch that one out. Like I said, this is available as a bundle with the punches. You get 2 punches plus the stamp set. And same here, punching out those elements. Okay. And then with your scrap piece of paper, I used the edgelet, the ribbon edgelet. And you can start anywhere you want on this. Then what you need to do is line up, slide it out, put it back in so that you're past this spot right here. You want to make sure you slide that back in. And you want to match these punched out pieces with the gray. You want to make sure that you're still seeing the silver. Not sure if you can see that. I'll offset it a little bit and then kind of put it back on. And that's what you're trying to match up. I'm going to set it down because it's easier to punch that way. But I'm going to make that so it only sees the silver and then punch one more down. And that is about all we need, just this little piece. We don't even need the whole thing. I think I used about a 3-inch piece of copper there, used a scrap. And what I want are the little bumps on the outside. You could use either one. I think this is really cute too, but I wanted it not so frilly. I just want a little bit of that copper peeking through, just along that one side. Line that up so that it's just covering the little peekaboo holes. Okay. And then I'm going to trim this down so that I'm not seeing any of this extra here. Chop off those little pieces. Oh, I have a funny little spot right there in my copper foil. Put that out of there. Okay. And that just gives you that little bit of glimmer that's going down the side. Now this piece I did put on dimensionals. You know me, gotta have dimensionals. Let's get some of those on there. I have a little bit of a cold, I think, starting. It's either a cold or just the fall allergies. The leaves are really falling here. It's been raining for a couple days, so everything's a little damp and soggy. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in the middle. And then we'll use our larger navy ornament. And again, I used some dimensionals. And I'm just putting that just off of this little scrolling that we made here. Okay, just so that it still peeks out behind it or next to it. And then the next ornament is also on dimensionals, and I just put a dimensional on one side of it because I'm going to add it right over the top of this other ornament. You could double up that one, or actually you would almost have to triple up that one if you wanted to, but it seems to hang out there just fine. And then for our greeting, I used soft suede and the Merry Christmas stamp that's in that same stamp set. And I just used, again, a scrap of paper, and I hand cut that out. There's not a die for that, but it's pretty straight edges, so it's pretty easy to cut out. And it's not so tiny that you can't hang on to it. And I just left a small amount of a border to it. And that I just glued straight down. And I only put glue on the side that says Christmas, just a little bit there. And I let that again hang right off. Okay. Then my little stars, little star designer elements, that is part of the brightly gleaming suite. Just added a little bit of star right on the corner for just a little bit of an added copper bling. Kind of tones off with this pair over here. And then the ribbon. I use about 12 inches of ribbon. Oh, I have centimeters on here. Well, I'll just do it off the roll. Okay, so when I do bows, especially this one that's got only writing on one side of it, I start with 2 loops, 2 bunny ears, cross them over and tie them together. Okay, But as you can see, what's happening is I have writing on one side but not on the other, okay? What I want to do is hold the middle and pull that loop down so it's closer to the size of the bow that I want to have. Tighten that up a little bit. Make sure I'm in the right, I'm a little big still. Let's tighten that back down. And then before I get this really tight, I literally just twist that ribbon so that and I'll hold it with my pinkies here, my two bottom fingers, grab these loops while this is twisted over, and then tighten onto it. And then that way the wording on this is the same side. That's good. It's a good way to tie any ribbon that's two-sided also, so you have a pattern on one side and not the other. And you know, I typically keep my ribbons pretty flat, so that would make one side be funny. So I just do it last minute as I'm tightening down on that. Let's get this clipped off here. And then this I just put on with a glue dot. Right on top of that ornament, the bead of the ornament. And if you don't like how long those tails are, you can trim those down a little bit more so we can see a little bit more of the ornament. And there you go. One nice, quick, easy, yet elegant Christmas card with the Christmas Gleaming bundle. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And you have a stamp happy day. Bye now.